Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. And if you're not new here, what's up? Good to see you again. For today's video, we're talking about music, specifically my vinyl collection. I've been collecting vinyls for a few years now and I've accumulated not too many, but enough to make a video out of it. So that's just what I'm gonna do. I have them all behind me here. This is not their normal home. Their normal home is behind the camera with my record player. But we're just gonna go through them one by one and we're gonna talk about music. So as I'm going through showing you each of my albums, I'm also gonna pick a favorite song off of each one. Okay, so first things first, we have Billie Eilish's Don't Smile at Me. This is the album that made me fall in love with her. Although it's not actually an album, I believe it's an EP. This pressing is a red vinyl, and I would say my favorite song off of this album has to be I Don't Wanna Be You Anymore. It's so beautiful. If you haven't listened to it, go do that, you might cry. Next up, we have one that I have never listened to fully, but it was like a few bucks, and I have seen this band live and they were really cool, so that's why I bought it. But it's Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s The Speed of Things. The only song that I know on this album is A Haunting, so I'm gonna say that one's my favorite. Next up on the list, we have Nirvana Nevermind. I got into this album like a couple years ago and I literally love every single song on this album, but if I had to pick a favorite, it's probably either Territorial Pissings or Breed. All right, next we have Skater's album Manhattan. This is also an album that I love pretty much every song on. I'm gonna pick two favorites on this one because I like both a lot. Schemers and This Much I Care are really good. Next up we have Fiddlar's self-titled album. Next I have another Fiddler album, but I have a lot of good memories with these songs. But probably my favorite on this album is maybe Wake, Bake, Skate. Such a good song title. Like I said, I have the other Fiddler album as well. This one's called 2. This one has a cool cutout in the front, which is sweet. And it's like this cool light neon orange colored pressing. This Fiddler album is my favorite. My favorite song on it is probably 40 Ounce on Repeat or Sober. Next up we have Sursly You Haunt Me. This album has some really good memories for me from high school. The pressing is this cool gray pattern that really fits with like the vibe of the album. My favorite song on this album has to be Too Far Gone. If you ever need a rainy day album, this is the one. Next up we have Muse Black Holes and Revelations. I picked this one up at a record shop when I was living in San Diego. My favorite song on this album is either gonna be Knights of Sidonia or Map of the Problematic. All right, we finally made it to my Paramore section. You guys probably already know this because I don't shut up about them, but Paramore is my favorite band, so of course I have every single vinyl of theirs. This is their most recent album, After Laughter, and this album is really cool because it opens up like this and has some artwork inside, and the pressing is pink. My favorite song on this album has to be Caught in the Middle. This is a great summer driving with the windows down with your homies type album. Okay, next up we have Paramore's Brand New Eyes. This is my favorite Paramore album and I don't know if I can pick a favorite on this album, honestly. Okay, I'll give a top 3 in no particular order. Ignorance, Brick by Boring Brick, and Where the Lines Overlap. All right, these are super out of order in the way that they came out, but it's fine. This is Paramore's self-titled album. This one is a double LP because the track list is very long. Anyways, my favorite song on this album is called Proof. Another Paramore album, we have Riot. None of these have really cool looking pressings, which is kind of upsetting. Do Better, Fueled by Ramen. That's their record company, if you didn't know. My favorite song on this album is called Fences. All right, the last Paramore album in the collection and their first album is All We Know Is Falling. My favorite song on this album is either Pressure or Emergency. Okay, now we are into the Strokes section. This is the Strokes album, Is This It? It's also a fold out copy, and my favorite song on this album is either Soma or Hard to Explain. Now we have my favorite Strokes album, Room on Fire. This is the album that got me into them in the first place. I discovered them when I was young playing Guitar Hero and I played Reptilia for the first time and fell in love. I know that Reptilia is a very basic answer to say, but that is my favorite song on this album because I have a special connection to it. Here, let me show you how much I love this album. One day I was painting with my friends and I literally painted the album cover. Moving on, we have Fall Out Boy's last good album, and that's Pushing It. This one is also a fold-out one. It has some whatever that is in it. The pressing of this one's actually really cool though, because it's clear with blue splatter all over it. My favorite song off this album is probably Twin Skeletons. We have another Fall Out Boy album. This is my favorite Fall Out Boy album. This one's a double pressing and each one is a different color. So this one is clear orange, and this one is a clear red. So one thing that's weird about this album, I don't know if everyone else's pressing is like this, but the back of my album is all backwards. So all of the track list is printed backwards. I don't know if that's intentional or not. I feel like it's not. I don't know. Anyways, my favorite song off of this album is probably 27. Okay, so now we're into the Eminem section. This is Eminem's Recovery. This album was really big in my family with me and my cousins, so these songs have a special place in all of our hearts. But it's a double pressing. My favorite songs off this are probably Love the Way You Lie because Rihanna, and Cinderella Man. The other Eminem album I have is Encore. It's also a double vinyl, but I honestly don't listen to this album that much. My favorites off this one are Just Lose It and Like That. Okay, so this one's pretty cool. This one I found in a random small record shop in LA. It is Britney Spears' I'm a Slave for You, but it's just one song. One side is instrumental and one side is like the actual version. It was like $2, so I figured why not get it. Okay, so next up we have Crybaby by Melanie Martinez. I don't really listen to her anymore. I used to be really into her. The vinyl's actually pretty cool though. It comes with like an entire like storybook of like photos of all the songs and artwork. My favorite off this album is Tag You're It. Next we have 21 Pilots' Vessel. This is the album that my best friend Viv showed me in high school and made me love them just as much as she did. This pressing is cool because it's clear. Every single song on this album is really good. My favorite though is for sure Migraine. I love that song. I love singing that song. It's just great. Next we have Dua Lipa's, the hell's this album called? Oh, it's her self-titled, obviously. This pressing is a fold-out one, and it has a beautiful photo of her inside. My favorite song off this album is IDGAF, because I don't give a That was really cringy of me. Pretend I didn't do that. This is the first vinyl I ever got. It's called My Head is an Animal of Monsters and Men. It's a double pressing, super pretty colored vinyls. They're like a hot pink. This is also like a rainy day, gloomy sounding album, but my favorite is probably Dirty Paws because it's really fun to play on guitar. Next up, we have Imagine Dragons, Night Visions. This was also a very formative album for me in high school. Every time I listen to this album, I get flashbacks from high school. My favorite song on this album is Hear Me. Okay, so these last two that I have are really random. I have Mozart. I found this at Amoeba, I think, for like $2 or $1. I have never played this, but it's there if I need it. Also, I don't know what this is. I don't know how this got there. Soundtracks Tony Banks? Who is that? I guess it's like songs from different movies that this guy's made or something. Anyways, it was $2. So that's gonna conclude my vinyl collection. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you guys like these types of videos where I'm just like showing you stuff, let me know down below because I have a lot of collections that I could show you. Or if you don't like these type of videos and you want to see something else, leave a comment down below of suggestions that you would like to see from me. Most of the time you guys have really good ideas, so lay it on me. If you did like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Along with that, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at BolettoSarhad. I post more content on there. I'm always posting stories and stuff, so that's where you can keep up to date with me the most. Other than that, I'll see you guys next week. Bye guys.